What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Kevin Kinkle, September 27th, 11:45 p.m. This is Kevin Kinkle, the Uplift Yourself podcast, the Let's Talk About It podcast. You know what time it is, y'all. It's time for the NFL weekly update. This is week 3. In case you've been living under a rock, this has been one of the most exciting starts that we've had to NFL football. There's been 18 games decided by 3 points or less. If y'all been listening to me, you've been hearing the excitement in my voice about the games that have been going on. And like Russell Crowe said in Gladiator, when he threw the knife up on the stage after he defeated everybody in the first fight, "Are you not entertained?" So yes, we're going into week 3. I got the NFL football wrap-up for you. I'm going to make it quicker this time. I'm going to shorten it. I've added all the teams, and instead of being so lengthy in my descriptions of what's going on in the game, I'm just going to be giving out scores, and I'm just going to be hitting quick bullet points on the game. After I summarize the games, I'm going to be giving my top 5 power teams in the league, which is going to be a great segment. And then y'all already know what I'm coming with at the end. The on the come up segment, the scholar athletes. Some are in college, some are in high school. And I got a couple of new ones on the list for y'all. So let's start it off with the NFL summary, y'all. Beautiful week again that we had. Every team was on the slate. We're not into running the buys yet. So let's get a quick breakdown of what happened this weekend with football. The Cleveland Browns played the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Cleveland Browns defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-17. Cleveland Browns are now 2-1. The Steelers are 1-2. The Cincinnati Bengals got their first win of the season. They moved to 1-2. The Jets moved to 1-2 if in a losing matter. The Bengals won 27-12. I don't know what the hell was going on in the Jets sideline, but there was this big dude approaching the coach. I don't know what this dude was saying to the coach. I'm not a good lip reader, but all I saw him was pointing his finger and yelling at the coach. The teammates had to separate him. I thought he was going to go on top of the coach. The coach is about to lose his life out there. But yes, the Jets lost bad. They got a win last week. This week they lost. The Bengals finally got on the board with a win after going to the Super Bowl last year. The Tennessee Titans versus the Los Angeles Raiders. The Tennessee Titans got on the board with their first win. They defeated the Raiders 24-22. The Raiders moved to 0-3. The Carolina Panthers and Baker Mayfield get their first victory. They are 1-2 on the season. They defeated the Saints 22-14. The Saints moved to 1-2 in a losing matter. The Baltimore Ravens, and need I say more about the boy Lamar? Yo, he is coming for his money. I told y'all what's going on with the contract. He doesn't even want to talk about the contract right now. His mind, the Bible says you keep your mind fixed on Jesus, will keep you in perfect peace. Lamar Jackson's mind is stayed on football and is keeping him in perfect peace. This dude had another 100-yard rushing game as a quarterback. This is his 12th rushing game as a quarterback. Before him, Michael Vick had 10. He broke the record last week, and then he just went further on and doubled down on that and did it again this week. He is putting up MVP numbers. I told y'all he wants that $200 million up front. He could ask for $300 million up front with the way he is playing. And they also moved up in the power rankings. We heard about that good game they had last week against the Miami Dolphins, where the Dolphins came back and got that victory. Well, this week the Baltimore Ravens beat the Patriots handedly, 37-26. So Lamar Jackson and his Ravens moved to 2-1, and they moved up on the power rankings. We'll talk about that later. And the Patriots moved down to 1-2. The Minnesota Vikings, who lost to my Philadelphia Eagles last week, also scored a victory over the Lions, who got lost to my Eagles in week 1. The Vikings are now 2-1. The Lions are now 1-2. Minnesota beat them 28-24. The Chicago Bears making a surprise. What up, Cachet? What up, Big O? What up, Jay Smith? Those are my boys that are Bear fans out there. They defeated the Tennessee Texans, who are trash. They're 0-2 and a tie on the season. But the Chicago Bears are 2-1. They defeated Houston 23-20. The Jags made another surprise. They won 38-10 over a decent Chargers team who is fighting some injuries with their quarterback. That could have been a reason why they got blown out by the Jags, whose young quarterback was looking tough. They won 38-10 over the Chargers. The Jags are now 2-1. Chargers are now 1-2. The LA Rams, the 2-1 Rams, Super Bowl champions defeated the Cardinals. They let Arizona, couldn't even score a touchdown. Kyler Murray and his scampering butt running around couldn't do what he did last week. The Rams won this one 20-12. The Cardinals moved to 1-2. The Rams moved to 2-1. The Falcons get on the board with their first win. They're 1-2. They defeated the Seahawks 27-23. We haven't heard a peep out of Geno Smith since that first comeback game that he had when he beat Russell Wilson. I guess that's all he was going to do. The Seahawks are now 1-2. Falcons are also 1-2. My Eagles, one of the only teams in the league that are 3-0, defeated Washington. It wasn't even a game. His joint was over way before halftime. Carson Wentz had a chance to play against his old team. He got to see why he got the boot, why he's not there no more. It's because we got Jalen Hurts and he's doing the thing. He took over the team, and we looking for another Super Bowl this year. We looking real tough out there in the streets, man. The Eagles are 3-0. Jalen Hurts is looking like a beast. Our receivers are looking tough. Our running backs are looking tough. We haven't faced any stiff competition yet, so the word is still out that we need to beat somebody who's good. It's coming, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's coming. Brace yourself. The Colts. So the Eagles are 3-0. The Washington Commanders moved to 1-2. The Indianapolis Colts and Matt Ryan had a wonderful game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes let me down this week with my fantasy squad. We lost, and so did the Kansas City Chiefs. The Colts beat them for their first win on the season. The Colts are 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie. There was a close game at the end. Patrick Mahomes was driving. The Colts were up 20-17. Kansas City was making a move. They got in the Colts territory. Unfortunately, Pat Mahomes threw an interception way late in the end of the game. Not enough time left to get the ball back and get in field goal range, so they lost. But Kansas City, I wouldn't blame it on Pat Mahomes. You see, in this game of football, there's 3 ways you could win the game: offense, defense, and special teams. You need all those to work good and have good chemistry to get a good win. It's safe to say the special teams lost the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a fake punt, which was a horrible idea. Gave the Colts good field position to come down and do what they had to do. They had a missed field goal. If they would have made that field goal, the game would have been tied and it might have went into overtime. I believe they had a couple of turnovers for special teams. So the special teams lost that game for Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coach, and Patrick Mahomes could be seen arguing at halftime. I believe the time was running out on the clock. Pat Mahomes wanted to try to score. Eric Bieniemy was like, nah, we just going to go into half with the game how it is. But that happens with family. You get in little arguments, but I don't believe the game was lost due to the offense or Pat Mahomes throwing an interception. I firmly believe that it was the special teams, and they're going to have to step that up. So the Colts moved to 1-1-1 on the season. Kansas City moves to 2-1. They got their first loss, but they're still high in the power rankings, in my humble opinion. Next, we have the other team that's 3-0. The 3-0 Dolphins beat the team I picked to make it to the Super Bowl this year, the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins won 21-19. This was another barn burner, end of the game. The Buffalo Bills are driving. They're down 2 points. They get the ball in Miami territory. There's about 10 seconds left on the clock. When Jared Allen threw the pass to the receiver, who got down at about between the 35 and the 40-yard line. They were going to try to kick a long field goal to get the go-ahead victory. Unfortunately, by the time the guy got down, there was no timeouts left. He was tackled. He gave the ball to the referee. Both teams ran to the line of scrimmage. As Jared Allen goes to hike the ball, time runs out. No time to snap the ball to get the time to stop so the field goal team could come on. Wasn't a time for all that. Game over. Bills got their first loss. Didn't move them too much down in the power rankings. Of course, the Dolphins are up there because they're 3-0, but that was a very good game. The Dolphins moved to 3-0, defeating the Buffalo Bills 21-19 in a really good game. The Dolphins squeezed out another one. That's 2 in a row, and they're looking tough. In the game of the legend quarterbacks, we had Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, which some people will call the GOAT. This was another barn burner. It was a defensive struggle most of the game. Aaron Rodgers in the beginning looked real strong. Thomas Brady looked all right. The end of the game, the Packers are up 14-6. That means that Tampa Bay was down by 8 points, which means they don't just need a touchdown. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Tom Brady marches down the field. He gets his guys a touchdown. So now they have the 2-point conversion. Now the 2-point conversion is not a kick. You have to punch the ball into the end zone from the 2-yard line. Unfortunately for Tampa Bay, they didn't get the playoff in enough time, and they got penalized. This penalized dropped them back 5 yards to the 7. Obviously, they didn't have any plays to get a 2-point conversion from the 7. It just looked horrible, and Tom Brady looked all out of whack. They couldn't convert on the 2-point conversion. The Packers moved to 2-1, defeating the Bucks 14-12, who also moved to 2-1. Sunday night game was horrible. Russell Wilson versus Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. The Broncos were down 5-10 going late into the game. Russell Wilson pulled off some magic, got the Broncos a victory. They won 11-10. It was a very, very boring game. The Broncos moved to 2-1. The 49ers moved to 1-2. And then we had the Monday night game, the Giants versus the Cowboys. Was a very good game. The Giants had a chance to stay undefeated. The Cowboys, I told you guys about the Cowboys before. Dak Prescott got hurt, but they still have players that could play to make it interesting, where the Eagles aren't just going to run away with the conference. And of course, the Giants are making a good argument for themselves. Dallas ended up winning this game. Ezekiel Elliott had a decent game. Saquon Barkley had a decent game. The other running back for the Cowboys had a good game. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it right now. I should have took some notes. But he had a good game. CeeDee Lamb had a horrible first half. He dropped about a 55-yard touchdown, hit him right in the numbers. He was dropping a whole bunch of passes first half. Second half, he's making some plays, and he came up big for the Cowboys, so he did redeem himself. The Dallas Cowboys won 23-16, and they're showing that they could still fight. They got what is it called? They got to get a puncher's win for the conference. They're still doing good. The Eagles are 3-0. They lead the conference. Dallas moves to 2-1, and so did the Giants. The Giants fall to 2-1. Cowboys won 23-16. So that's the NFL wrap up. I hope you heard your favorite team out there with their scores and their stats, what they're looking like, a wins and loss column. Now, quickly and briefly, I would like to go through my power rankings. Of course, I'm a little biased. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and since we are 3-0, I have us number 1 on the power rankings. Number 2 on the power ranking is the Miami Dolphins at 3-0. I have the Bills moving down to the number 3 spot, and I still think the Bills are going to make it to the Super Bowl. Don't get it twisted that this one loss, I lost all hope in them. Nah, these are the power rankings, and we're talking about what's going on right now. Right now, the Eagles are 3-0. Right now, the Dolphins are 3-0, and they just beat the Bills. So the Dolphins are going to move up. So the Dolphins are number 2. I got the Bills number 3. I got Kansas City, who I think is still going to be playing the Bills for that AFC Championship at the number 4 slot. And I got the Rams or the Ravens at the 5 slot. Both of those teams could be interchangeable. Lamar Jackson is playing out of his mind. The Rams won the Super Bowl last year, so I can't disqualify them. And we have a whole bunch of 2-1 teams. You got the Chicago Bears, you got the Bucks, you got a whole bunch of teams that are running behind. So as the season continues to go on, the top 5 is going to get more interesting. It's right now it's real bottled up, but like I said, we have an interesting season. I'm loving this football fellowship. People are winning their fan duels, getting their bread. This is the most wonderful time of the year. The holidays are coming up. It's getting a little cooler outside. My man Bourne always says it's a lovely time of the year. That means he's talking about football season. It gets a little cool, a little brisk. Good football weather, y'all. Speaking about the most wonderful time of the year, this is my favorite segment that I've been doing on the pod, man. This is the On the Come Up segment. This is where we talk about scholar athletes. I know their parents, and I just want to give them shout outs, and I want them to be put on notice. I want y'all to tell y'all friends about the pod and hear what y'all doing out here. There's people that shake your hands, and they might know you do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but they don't know about the numbers you guys are putting up. And I'm proud of you guys, because you guys aren't only doing it on the fields or on the court, but you're also doing it in the classroom. So I want to encourage y'all to keep up the good work, and let's start this On the Come Up edition. First, we're going to start with our man, part of me. We're going to start with my man, Julian Young from Colby College, the 6'2 sophomore. This boy is incredible. I keep on telling y'all that. and he's in college right now. He's already in Kobe, but I've been